I'm not a professional cook, but in this video I will be ranking each Hermitcraft base based on how much I would like to eat the base. Because I'm based like that. So, if I'm not a professional cook, how will I judge these bases? Will I thoroughly research the conditions that make something edible and tasty, making sure to give every single one its fair chance? No. We're doing vibes. For our first course, let's take a look at Good Times with Scars.
What do you feel like Rusty, maybe?
Sure, let's go with that. Rusty is an interesting case because, well, he's alive and doesn't look super appetizing, but then again, neither do chickens, or whatever animal this resembles. Rusty is a potential base. If you take care of it, find the right spices, fillet and grill it to perfection, it'll be wonderful. But I can't do that, so 5 out of 10. See, sometimes you need to think very deeply about a base to see its strengths, and other times, it's the happiest place on Hermitcraft. This place looks like it would kill me with sugar poisoning, but I would die a happy man. The colors are bright, vibrant, and diverse, but nonetheless harmonious and work together to create what can only be described as the happiest place on Hermitcraft. There's no shortage of animals, and the carefully trimmed lawn of moss blocks adds just the right amount of greenery. Sure, there's nothing below the surface, but there doesn't need to be. This is, without a doubt, the tastiest base on the entire... Yeah? What? What do you mean horses? I have decided to avoid officially ranking the base of Joel's Smallish Beans for the time being. I have taken this action in response to several disturbing rumors that have recently appeared, and until they are verifiably proven false, I cannot in good conscience make a judgment on his base. Goes to show that nothing is perfect, I guess. But his neighbor Doc gets pretty darn close. While the sheer scale of the ice spikes does look intimidating, they are very reminiscent of a shaved ice cone. And they glow. Now, would eating it give me some kind of frost-related curse that brings great power and great responsibility? I'm eating it anyway. I don't care. 9 out of 10 just because it doesn't seem like a very well-balanced meal. Since we've done the ice, let's do the fire. Fighters. Pearlescent Moon's fire station and accompanying fire trucks are a vitally important public service. But, well, I just don't find vehicles very appetizing. It does seem very hydrating, especially given how useful the water potions are, which is a plus, but in general, the whole base feels very sturdy, resilient, and like I would break all my teeth if I tried to take a bite. 3 out of 10, just because red is a very tasty color. Impulse's base has a very similar problem, but I'm inclined to rate it just slightly higher at 4 out of 10. Why? Well, because it's a massive hole, and I do want to know what the metaphysical concept of nothingness would taste like in a dish. But it's not just Impulse and Pearl that I take issue with, it's also Joe Hill's and Etho. This is because of industrial architecture. I'll give you one guess as to what that looks like. It looks like industrial architecture, okay? Big metal beams, big pylons, machines, and metal, believe it or not, famously inedible in large quantities. Okay, I don't care how much Popeye you show me, I'm not biting into an iron bar. Now, credit where credit is due. I've been to a TV set. It's basically just a massive warehouse with like one little square where all the magic happens. And you know how sometimes things are complementary? You know, you put two things together, they draw out the best things in each other. TV sets are like the opposite, okay? Everything is miserable if you're on a TV set. That might just have to do with the fact that the director was like really nervous and yelling at everybody when I was there. Okay, well, even if it's just bad memories, it's still a valid reason. Joe Hills, I'm sorry, buddy. You get like a 2 because I will admit you've done a very good job of making a TV set look presentable. Okay, like the old school vibes, the moth-eaten carpets. That's all well and good. Me personally, I'm not going for that, but you live your truth. And Etho, you've made Parkour Civilization, okay? I'm not eating Parkour Civilization. It looks like a big city. It looks sturdy. It looks great. Doesn't look appetizing. I'm sorry, okay? I will give you like one point just because you're Evo. Okay, I can be an Evo girl if I want to be a little bit. Okay, is Evo? Come on, guys. But yeah, 1 out of 10. Green's base is very interesting because it has this like rounded, soft shape and these kind of muted colors, very reminiscent of bread. I wonder why. But it also has a lot of glass, and the idea of eating a loaf of bread with just a glass bottle stuffed inside, it. Forgive me for not being very excited for that, okay? But I will say, it wins a lot back because of the massive end crystal, right? Like, I'm imagining it's like one of those rock candies, you put it in your mouth and it just blows up. But instead of just being like a little pop, it blows up your entire face. Look at that and tell me you don't want to put it in your mouth, okay? That, just to be curious, okay? I don't care if it kills me. I just think it would be cool to try. That's all I'm saying. Alright, now we're reaching the point where I'm running out of things to say, okay? This is the nothing category because there's very little culinarily inspiring in my personal opinion about these bases. B-dubs, lovely builder. Love you to death. I don't want to eat it, okay? I've seen you lose enough teeth to know when there's a risk of that. Skiz, I feel like that would just be a very psychologically devastating experience for me. And while I am a psych student, I'm not a psych patient, so... And I'd like to keep it that way. Cleo, it looks like a moldy orange. That's the only thing that I'm getting in terms of like food. It's a good base, love the colors. If I were to eat it, I would just think of a moldy orange. Don't take it personally. False and Corrales are kind of two similar sides of the same coin. When I look at False's base, it doesn't look bad, okay? You've got that greenery. It's a good start, but too much of that greenery, okay? It looks like something I would eat. It's like going to a restaurant and getting presented with just a plate of grass, right? Like I look at it and I go, okay, I understand. Different audience would love this. Me personally, a little bit more diverse nutritional needs. Corrales, on the other hand, would be like getting a pretty perfect fruit salad, right? It's got the beautiful grapes, full of color, it's got the greenery, it's plated nicely, okay? The shaders do a lot, I will admit, but even without them, this feels like a meal. It doesn't feel good enough where I'm like, okay, I can eat that and be happy with myself. It's enough to get by. That's my argument. Eve's base is non-existent. It 90s, yeah. I mean, it sounds cool. You gotta cook it first, though. I can't make a judgment on that one. XB, Ren, and Cub, they're all kind of similar in the sense that they gave me like jelly bean vibes, you know, those every flavor ones. XB is the postal service. On the outside, it looks probably the least appetizing, but there is that copper golem, right? Which I imagine it's gonna be like that topper on like a strawberry shortcake, which you eat and then you feel a little bit healthier before like devouring a lion's share of sugar. So I'd eat that. Maybe if somebody else tries it and says it's good, then I would be like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Of my own volition, probably not. Cub is a similar case, okay? I think it looks better on the outside, so I would be more willing to try it. Lots of different, you know, bits and bobs of different places, I think, very diverse flavor profile. I'm choosing to believe it wouldn't have some kind of chorus fruit effect, where it just teleports me to a random inconvenient location. That, I'm just trying to, like, give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. And then Ren is, like, the best version of this, because it's magical, and I want to eat something magical, okay? If you've heard what I said about Doc. If you give me like a glowing thing and tell me to eat it, I'm gonna eat it, okay? I want to know what's gonna happen. If you want to poison me, you can do that. If anyone's interested, I'm down, right? Then we move on to the castles, right? Wells Knight, I don't care how pretty your shaders are, I'm not eating a castle. Gem, same deal. That's a castle. You build a dragon, I can eat the dragon, and Laz would be proud, but no dragon yet. sorry, Jim's base is less of a dish and more like the place that serves you some kind of dish, you know what I'm saying? Like, this in and of itself isn't what I would eat, but I think it serves something incredible. But we're talking about bases, so tough luck, Gem. Maybe show up to the next video where I rank hermits by how well they would cook or something. That's a joke, I'm not doing that. Hopefully. Tango, you've made decked out 1, you've made decked out 2, you've made decked out 3. It's a big mountain, it's got like a castle, it's scary, not super appetizing, not super edible, in my personal opinion. You do get a lot of points because I do think I do think it would be funny to take decked out and just eat it. But that's more like a personal curiosity than me like actually going, oh, this is that's just me wanting to eat something for the sake of eating it. You know how those like golden pure gold leaves exist, where it's like, oh, I'm a rich person, I want to literally eat gold. So they cook up something and I'm pretty sure it tastes just like nothing, but then you can go like, oh, I ate it. Yeah, I don't think it would taste good. I would want to taste it just for the sake of tasting it. Zedav's base, kind of a similar story. I would want the trophy for eating that base. Don't necessarily think it would be the most appetizing thing in the world, okay? It's great base, not the best dish. Yeah, I love how I try to phrase everything in such like a safe way, like as if anyone is going to be like actually upset that I said I don't want to eat their base or that it doesn't look appetizing. Yeah, I can't wait for this video to get 100 million views and then I don't know, Wells Knight to get angry at me for insulting his shaders or his castle or something. So yeah, that's on ZF. And finally, there's Mumbo. You've got the wheat field, you've got the water, you've got the geese, okay? If you squint your eyes, you can pretend it's like a full course meal. But I must say, the base itself bears strong resemblance to a particular to a particular person, and me personally, I don't think I would necessarily be able to get past that while eating. So I'm gonna knock you a few points for that one. Oh yeah, Hypno. Hypno has a pyramid. And I don't want to give a 0 to anyone, right? But it's probably, it's giving me the vibe of like the kind of food that like looks impressive, right? Like it's got like a really cool construction, it's got an interesting shape, but it probably wouldn't have like a super interesting flavor. So yeah, you get like a 1 out of 10 just because I don't really want to give a 0 to anyone. Besides Joel Swallish Beans, okay, this man is a menace. He has been kidnapping horses, stuffing them in his basement, and butchering them, all in an effort to figure out how to make a giant eternal rainbow over the entire server. Are you writing this down? So, if you've been paying careful attention during this video, you know exactly who I think would have the tastiest base on the Hermitcraft server. But for the 99% that just blacked out the moment I started talking, don't worry, I got you. Here's my tier list, here's all the rankings. Of course, the winner, right? The most tastiest place on the entire Hermitcraft server is the happiest place on Hermitcraft. Wow, okay, so, you know how I did like a jokey joke where I pretended to forget Hypno? Because, like, I wanted to also do the, and finally there's Mumbo joke, but then I wanted to end it with the Joel bit, so, and I wasn't gonna give Mumbo, like, anything close to a 0, so I did that. Wouldn't it be, like, even funnier if I genuinely forgot one of the members and only realized like after I was done recording everything and while editing? Wouldn't it be hilarious? So anyway, Jevin, he's got a ship or like 2 or 3. They look the sea salty. They look like saltine crackers shaped like pirate ships. 7 out of 10. It won't influence like the final ranking. Doesn't matter. Would eat. I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't. I mean, you saw my script. I just kind of like erased stuff. I think I accidentally just erased his name and forgot about him. So yeah. And now, if I actually forget somebody, right, you wouldn't know if I did it intentionally as like a third bit, because, you know, comedy comes in threes, right? I pretend to forget, then I really forget, but still like fix it in editing, and then I really forget somebody. And you'd never know, because you haven't been paying attention, have you? I need every single person who has made it up to this point, right, go all the way back and watch it again and pay close attention. Because I and tell me in the comments, because I wouldn't know otherwise, or maybe I would know. Maybe I would know. Maybe I did it intentionally. Maybe there's someone missing. Who knows? Not me. Oh, I am losing, absolutely just losing my mind with this video.